Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. By the way, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all staying healthy despite the rising threat of the lazy virus that's been spreading around lately. To be honest, I've caught that virus too, and it's been slowing down my content production quite a bit. Anyway, let's get straight to it. Today, I'm going to recap a terrifying and suspenseful movie titled The Voy, 2016. And if you enjoy this channel, as always, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on more exciting videos from KF Movie. The film opens with a scene of panic, showing a weak man named James escaping from a remote house used as the headquarters of a dangerous cult. During the escape, one of the cult members named Ichi is taken down by a man named Joseph, along with his son Son. The two are determined to wipe out the evil that has taken root in their town. After Ichi experiences the searing heat of the flames, Joseph urges his son to continue the hunt. But as they leave, another cult member cloaked in a robe, bearing a strange triangle symbol, watches silently over Ichi's charred body. Meanwhile, on the other side, a dedicated officer named Daniel, who is out on patrol, becomes suspicious after spotting a mysterious man crawling out of the forest.
Big night, huh?
It turns out, that man is James. Seeing James beaten up like a chicken thief, Daniel quickly rushed him to the hospital.
Dispatch, more right.
Upon arrival, Daniel immediately called his wife, who was on duty, to take care of James. Allison then asked for help from her colleague named Ive to assist with the treatment.
Oh.
Moments later, Allison brought the bleeding James in for further examination. While waiting for the results, Daniel approached an old man named Ben, who was there with his granddaughter Maggie, who was about to give birth. In the middle of some small talk, Daniel tries to calm Maggie down, as she's about to go into labor. According to her grandfather, Maggie's pregnancy was the result of reckless behavior with dozens of unemployed men. Just then, Daniel hears a commotion and quickly rushes to the ward where James is being treated. Meanwhile, in the ward, Dr. Richard tries to inject a sedative into James, who keeps struggling violently. Once James finally calms down, Dr. Richard explains that they can only provide minimal treatment, especially since most of the hospital equipment had been moved to a new facility following a fire that occurred a few months ago. A moment later, Ive asks a Chinese intern nurse named Kim to organize some documents to be transferred to the new hospital. After a long time without chatting due to their busy schedules, Allison brings James a cup of coffee and starts a conversation. But when Dr. Richard arrives, he asks Allison to assist with Maggie, who is about to give birth. After Allison leaves, Dr. Richard advises Daniel to pay more attention to his wife. Right now, Allison needs extra care to heal from the trauma of losing their child. Dr. Richard could truly feel Allison's pain, as he had also once lost his daughter, Sarah. Hearing those words suddenly made Daniel realize something, and he promised to be more attentive to Allison. Shortly after, as Daniel was about to head home, he noticed Ive standing still in a patient's room, lost in thought.
Beverly, Jesus Christ. Don't do that. Bev!
Oh my God. Daniel was absolutely shocked to witness Ive doing something vile to one of the patients. Overwhelmed by horror, Daniel panicked and desperately tried to snap Ive out of it.
It's not me.
Beverly, stop!
Unfortunately, he had no choice but to take Ive down, as she was acting like a complete psychopath. Moments later, Allison and Kim entered the room and were horrified by what they saw.
My God, what happened?
Whatever Daniel was experiencing, in the midst of his strange visions, Dr. Richard and Allison informed him about Sheriff Mike's arrival. Upon hearing this, Daniel immediately went to meet him, to explain what had happened.
Mitchell!
A moment later, Daniel revealed that he had been forced to take down Ive, who had acted like a psychopath. Moreover, Ive had cruelly killed a patient. After listening to Daniel's explanation, which seemed reasonable, Sheriff Mike shared some information. He said that a massacre had taken place at a remote house just a few hours earlier, allegedly carried out by 2 individuals. One of the patients, named James, was the key witness and the only survivor of the incident. Upon hearing this, Daniel reluctantly handed over his weapon to Mike as a temporary punishment. Sheriff Mike then asked Daniel to contact the police team so they could send reinforcements immediately.
This is Carter, Marsh County. Do you copy?
When no response came, Daniel became puzzled as he noticed a strange figure in a cloak watching him from a distance.
Hi!
After being relentlessly attacked, Daniel panicked as the cloaked group began to arrive. He quickly rushed back into the hospital. However, as Daniel received treatment, something strange happened to IF's body. What's going on? As if infected with cordyceps fungus.
You hear me? Okay, keep your eyes on me.
As Daniel passed out, Ellison, who was about to bring the medkit, asked Kim to stop messing around.
Stay awake.
Hey!
Stay awake, Daniel.
Stop the bleeding, for now.
Shortly after, when Daniel regained consciousness, they panicked when they saw members of the strange cloaked sect surrounding the hospital. In the midst of confusion, panic escalated when they heard James's screams. Oh my God. They were horrified when they saw If mutate like a zombie from Last of Us. Amid the terror, Daniel tried to free James, who was about to be attacked by this creature. After successfully freeing James, Daniel, who was unarmed, quickly grabbed an axe to defend himself.
Make safe! Make safe! Okay.
It turns out, Joseph and Son were still trying to take James down. At that moment, a panicked James took Maggie as a hostage.
Buddy, just stay calm! Just stop!
In the middle of the tense situation, Dr. Richard tried to persuade James to release Maggie.
Just let me in.
I got him!
But suddenly, and unexpectedly, James killed Dr. Richard. Amid the chaos, Daniel tried to talk James into letting go of the pregnant Maggie. Seeing his superior in danger, Daniel gathered his courage to go after them. Fortunately, this epic father-son combo managed to save Daniel from the creature's attack.
Now, help them get them.
I don't know what this is.
You need to tell me what is in there.
After Joseph and Son successfully took down the creature, Daniel and Allison asked what was really going on. Though he didn't know all the details, Joseph explained that the terrifying mutation was connected to a cult. And now, they were searching for the creature's altar to take revenge for the death of his wife and youngest daughter. Hearing that, Ellison and Daniel decided to help them. After using If's burnt corpse as bait, Daniel took Joseph and Son to retrieve weapons and ammo from his car. In the dead silence, they quietly made their way toward the vehicle. Meanwhile, as Meg was dealing with contractions, Ellison rushed off to get some medication. Upon arriving at the pharmacy, Ellison quickly grabbed the necessary drugs. But without her realizing, Dr. Richard had risen again in a terrifying condition. Will Ellison survive? Seeing that more cult members were approaching, Joseph urged them to hurry.
Fuck's sake! Look out!
After taking out one of the cult members, the panicked group rushed back into the hospital.
Well, she went to get some medicine for Meg.
While Kim was treating Son, she revealed that Allison hadn't returned yet from the supply room. Hearing that, a panicked Daniel asked Joseph to help him search for his wife.
Those people killed his family. Mind your own business.
However, once they reached the lobby, they panicked when they saw that Dr. Richard's body had vanished. Realizing something was wrong, Joseph urged Daniel to continue the search.
It's gone.
After failing to find Allison, Daniel heard a phone ringing and quickly rushed to Dr. Richard's office to check. And to his shock, it was Dr. Richard's voice on the other end of the line. At the same time, Joseph was stunned to discover ritual photos and a cult book from Kaling City belonging to Dr. Richard. It turns out, all this time, Dr. Richard was the leader of a twisted cult that worshipped a mysterious entity. Over the phone, Richard revealed that all of this was part of a ritual to reincarnate his beloved daughter, Sarah. He also added that Ellison would become the host of the creatures that would serve as his army. Long story short, before launching the rescue mission for Ellison, Daniel handed a gun and an axe to Kim and Grandpa Ben for protection. Then, in frustration, Daniel forced James to join the mission and take responsibility for the horrors his cult had unleashed. Despite being absolutely terrified, James had no choice but to obey.
Be my guest.
Arriving at the burned-down hospital area, Daniel took the lead in the search and instructed his team to stay alert.
Any door is just a bunch of corridor. Better not be leading us into a trap.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, Allison, who had just regained consciousness, was confronted by Dr. Richard. After completing the implantation of the creature's cells, Richard calmly asked Allison to stay still, explaining that he had prepared her to become the mother of his monstrous army. He revealed that after Sarah's death, he tried everything possible to bring his daughter back through reincarnation. While peeling scabs from his own body, Richard explained that he was a servant of the being destined to conquer Earth. The mutation that happened to If was just one of many experiments he had conducted on humans. In fact, the previous fire was an act of sabotage, meant to cover up the results of his failed trials. But now, the experiment was perfected inside Ellison's womb.
Truly remarkable.
Horrified, Ellison was left in shock upon realizing that she had been forced to carry a terrifying creature. Back to Daniel. In the middle of their search, the group discovered a strange triangle symbol in a room filled with a foul stench. Moments later, Daniel found a hidden passage and urged Joseph and the others to continue the search with him. tense situation. Joseph heard the sound of a crying baby and suddenly began hallucinating. He saw the image of his late wife. It felt like hell on earth, as they were horrified by the suffering of the people who had been used as test subjects in Dr. Richard's experiments. Caught in the hallucination, Joseph rushed after the figure of his deceased wife. Daniel, in a panic, carried James in an attempt to escape. However, James, completely unaware of the danger, ended up dying from an extreme migraine. After that, Daniel continued the search on his own. At the same time, Maggie's water broke. Kim was forced to perform an emergency delivery, even though she was still just a medical intern. But just as everything was ready, Kim found herself paralyzed with doubt.
You are the only chance she has.
Tragically, the kind-hearted grandpa Ben was killed by his own grandchild, who had been influenced by the creature's genjutsu. When the hospital's power suddenly went out, Kim's panic escalated, especially when she saw members of the cult arriving to take Maggie. Meanwhile, a panicked Son was seen chasing after his father, who had already fallen under the creature's genjutsu.
What do I have to do? Your mother.
Say to them! Stay here. We
Luckily, in a desperate moment, Son managed to snap his father out of it. Elsewhere, Daniel was sneaking around with an axe in hand, searching for his wife.
Allison.
He couldn't hold back his emotions when he found Allison still alive. But just as they were sharing a moment of joy, Daniel suddenly panicked upon hearing Richard calling his name.
Allison lost your child. I saw. I've given her what she wanted.
To his shock, everything he saw was merely an illusion. Richard revealed that Ellison had now become the host for the birth of the creatures that would invade the earth. Hearing that, though it broke his heart, Daniel tried to brace himself to kill his own wife. Then, in the middle of his sorrow, Daniel suddenly found himself transported to the sacrificial altar. He shouted, demanding that the deranged Richard come out of hiding. With a terrifying appearance resembling a black Squidward, Richard emerged, ready to begin the resurrection ritual for his daughter. He commanded Maggie, who was still pregnant, to kneel before him.
Everybody. Watch that. Place.
After the interdimensional portal opened, Maggie, who regained consciousness, was horrified to realize her pregnancy had been overtaken by a monstrous entity.
You see?
Oh no, it wasn't Sarah who reincarnated, but a terrifying creature that burst out of Maggie's womb. Daniel was completely stunned by the horrific sight. In that critical moment, Joseph and Son tried to distract the creature. Despite being in immense pain, and with his body soaked in alcohol, Joseph begged Son to set him on fire. Though hesitant, Son finally honored his father's sacrifice and carried it out. Overwhelmed with emotion, Son fled the scene in panic. Meanwhile, as Richard performed the final phase of his ritual, Daniel, despite being weak, still tried to stop him.
I can see it all moving.
Infuriated by the interruption, Richard was about to kill Daniel. But just when all hope seemed lost, Daniel suddenly recalled his cherished memories with Allison. Those memories gave him strength, a final buff to rise and fight back.
Yes.
Eventually, as the portal closed, the void room where the ritual took place slowly faded away. Thankfully, Son managed to escape the creature's pursuit and got out of the horrifying void. Still in shock, he rushed to find the remaining survivors. Seeing Son arrive, Kim breathed a sigh of relief. She realized that the terrifying nightmare had finally come to an end. Meanwhile, in another realm, the spirits of Daniel and Allison watched silently as a pyramid-shaped mothership prepared to invade Earth. However, thanks to their sacrifice, the invasion failed completely because the portal had been sealed shut. Pretty terrifying, wasn't it? The tragic death of Sarah pushed Dr. Richard to do whatever it took to bring his daughter back to life. In his desperation, he encountered a mysterious entity that promised Sarah's resurrection as long as Richard agreed to open a portal to another dimension. But as we've seen, it was all just a deception by a malevolent being, exploiting Richard's grief and ambition. In the end, thanks to Daniel and his allies, the portal was finally sealed and the world was saved. That's all for our review and breakdown of The Void 2016. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss more awesome videos from KF Movie. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.